throughout this June 29th, 1998. And thank you for supporting Marc, Wade, and Ed Sedarbaum. Ed, I think it's your turn. Ed is an equally wonderful candidate running for state senate, not U.S. Senate. He has a social work background, a background of decency and caring and concern, and goodness knows anyone who's willing to subject themselves to this political process just to have the privilege of representing the likes of us deserves, and to do it ethically and with concern, deserves your money, your support, and your thanks. Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and thank you so much, Marc, for this. And Sue, not only are you wonderful, but I wish I could have you behind me as I go door to door. It's so great, you know. Just play a little appropriate theme songs. I'm glad that you came here today, and I'm glad that I saw the performance, because I had been wondering for a real long time why it is that Marc was supporting me. For a while I was scared that he just wanted to make sure that he had a new generation of ludicrous politicians that he could lampoon. But what I see now is that, like everybody else, he's just bugging for a job. The only thing I need to decide is whether I should call him court jester or the fool, but we'll think about that. Actually, you know, Marc has said this more than once, that he is grateful that I'm willing to subject myself to this horrible experience of going door to door and campaigning. And it's interesting that you pointed that out again, because I had already been planning to tell you folks that I'm actually having a really good time. I really am. I have such wonderful, wonderful experiences. So let me just, because I mean, you know, you folks are already here supporting me, so I figure I don't have to tell you how wonderful I am to get you to support me. Let me just tell you how good a time you can have if you do politics that is purely about what you believe, with no game playing and no withholding. I've had experiences like this, going door to door for the school construction bond and for Ruth Messenger in October. We identified people who, of course, had never even heard about the school construction bond, and then went back door to door to pull them out. And I was going into one of the city housing developments, Ravenswood in Astoria, a place where I knew Democrats didn't go very often to ask people to vote. I didn't realize how unused they were to having anybody want their vote until I knocked on a woman's door to say, did you go out to vote yet? And she said, yes, yes, I did. What is this, a service of the government? She had never seen a campaign worker in her life, at least not in Ravenswood. There was a man who had celebrated his 90th birthday the day before I visited him. And when we go door to door to talk about my campaign, one of the things we're looking to do is gather some information about them, who has kids in the public schools, things like that. And the last question we always ask is, what's the one most important thing you think the government should be working on? And this man of 90, a Holocaust survivor as a matter of fact, looked at me like I was crazy for asking this question. And he said, take care of the poor. And I just, you know, I melted. It just melted that there are still people who think that way about what the obligation of government is. There are also sweet little moments of victory, like when an unnamed Democratic club out in Eastern Queens refused to let me address their club, and it resulted in an insurrection by about 3 dozen older Jewish ladies who are now running around Bay Terrace carrying 2 things: the Christian Coalition scorecard with my opponent's marks in it, and my petitions. It's a set of people who had been active in progressive politics almost forever, but in the last 10 years have not been all that active again, and now have something to fight for. Because they agree with me that it's ludicrous for the Democratic Party to be throwing its weight behind somebody who actually earns 100% ratings from the Christian Coalition. You know, if somebody from Queens wants to be represented by that, fine, but it shouldn't be as a Democrat. And the same thing was learned recently, you know, and this may actually lose me points with the West Queens Independent Democrats, who of course endorsed me, but I actually just got endorsed by my regular Democratic club in Jackson Heights. Good. Scary, but it's true. And believe me, the leadership didn't want it to happen. So these are some of the fun experiences you can have if all you do is go around and sort of say why you think you ought to serve and why the other guy oughtn't to serve and what it is you want to accomplish, which is real simple because we're Democrats, and what Democrats believe is a very simple thing, that there are problems that government can address that nobody else can. You know, like who's going to build the schools? Who's going to make sure that the air is clearer? You know, these are the things that we want government to pay attention to. And you can have fun too. I know you're already here to support me. I want to ask you to do one other thing, because I suspect a lot of folks actually live in the district. You may be from Astoria or Long Island City or Sunnyside or Woodside or Jackson Heights, or maybe even from Whitestone and Bayside. And if you are, between now and the 10th of July, we are continuing to collect petition signatures to make sure that, I mean, we already have 1,000. We want to make sure that we have enough excellent, valid signatures that when Queen's version of Tammany Hall does its usual set of tricks, they can't throw me off the ballot, and this election will be based purely on what the election is about. So if you want to do that, there's Lois Marbeck, our petition coordinator, and my campaign manager, Roderick Dial. Talk to them about it. Maybe you could collect me a page or two. Mark, you're a delight, you're a truth teller, and I really appreciate this party. Thank you very much, everybody.